Hey everybody, this is Perch, and this is going to sound like a sarcastic question, but I guess at this point, given how often it happens, maybe it's not a sarcastic question; it's an honest question that I'm trying to ask here, and that is basically, what is the business plan for pissing people off on Twitter? Because a decent amount of creators have taken to what I would call somewhat antagonistic, smug kind of comments on Twitter intended to poke at people, but I see no money in this. I see no even hint of money in this. It all seems subtractive to me. I mean, you can play it any which way, and it doesn't actually lead to anything positive for anyone. So I'll give you an example here, and I think it's an interesting one in its simplicity. So Saladin Ahmed, who is a writer for Marvel, and he's done Miles Morales, he's done Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was recently canceled, Miles Morales coming back. He did Black Bolt, a handful of other things. At any rate, he writes, looking for a reliable artist, cool, okay, good, with pro credits, graphic novel or monthlies, to work on something awesome. All right, cool, he's doing some open networking. I'm always a little skeptical on these kind of on social media, post a tweet, get some talent kind of stuff. But, it is a new world, and you can find people that way and cool stuff. All good. And then it's for a swashbuckling YA-ish mythic adventure. My eyes actually just rolled into the back of my head, so let me just get them back in place here. There we go. Sure, why not? We do not have nearly enough YA, but maybe with this YA book you could also have some references to kind of 90s culture in there too. Maybe if you could do that, and I don't know, there could be kind of some kind of love interest, but subverting expectations. We could make the characters gay, and probably there's some misunderstandings with a father figure. That might be good too. Why not? Sure, it's all fine. I'm sorry. I at this point, swashbuckling YA-ish mythic adventure. I hope they listen to Nirvana at some point. Am I right? I mean, that would really be what they need to do. Anyway, okay. So, but fine. He's got a project. No problem. Recommend yourself with sequential samples and your email. Cool. Hey, pro tip: don't just throw your email out on Twitter. That's a bad idea. You're going to get spammed all to death. But just whatever. Not just me making the call. Okay, cool. It's a team it's his last line. People of color, POC and women, front of the line, tough if you don't like it. Okay, so here's the thing. What are we doing there exactly? So first off, if you're doing this kind of book and you want to have a person of color or a woman or whatever you want on there, if you're the decision maker or one of the decision maker groups, go for it. Now, some people say, there's a whole thing around discrimination and racism and all the rest. Sure, and I do think we are entering a world where some of this, we're going to hire certain demographics, is going to come under a lot of legal fire, as it should. If you're saying, hey, we are hiring white dudes, only white dudes apply. If you want a job, we're looking for white dudes. All that is coming to a legal end at some point, and a lot of messy court cases and other nonsense. But regardless of that, forgetting that for a moment, if you want a certain demographic, a certain whatever for your creative project here, just do it. Just do it. I mean, at this point, people make a lot of noise. There's a lot of hand waving and arm waving and everything else, but just hire who you want, right? Why are you pre-announcing that you're going to select this way? What value is it? And then it's this second line, this tough if you don't like it. Who's that for exactly? Is it for me? I'm commenting on this, but I'm not applying for the job, and I wasn't before, and I'm not after. And when I looked at this, I'm like, whatever. You can do what you want. And so, tough if you don't like it, on one hand, yeah, tough, agreed. I'm with you, Saladin Ahmed. Tough if you don't like it, tough. But I wouldn't say that. I would just do it. I would just hire who I wanted. I think going in there and putting that out, it makes you sound smug. It makes you sound arrogant. It makes you sound like a jackass. Not because you're not hiring white dudes. No, I think most people all assumed you weren't. And nobody, I mean, again, no, I don't know that who really cares. I don't think very many people care. I think definitely there'll be some pearl clutching people who will be like, oh my God, he won't hire white people. I can't believe this. This is outrageous. But most people are not going to care. The vast majority of people who look at this and see Saladin's name and see swashbuckling YA-ish mythic adventure and he's soliciting for some art, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to look at this and go, how dare he not hire a white male? I don't know. I think to me, I think the people who would get really up in arms with that are faking it. That's just I have no proof. That's just my feeling. I don't think anybody really. I don't think anybody would be either surprised nor outraged by that. However, what people will be outraged or irritated by, and in many cases, I mean, if you're getting irritated by anything that Saladin Ahmed is writing at this point, like who cares? But at any rate, it's the attitude. It's the tough if you don't like it. It's the, hey, haters, I'm going to do this. I mean, if you already know that you're saying something that's going to tweak somebody, I don't know, don't say it. Why would you say it in the first place? Why would you go out of your way to throw that out there with the tough if you don't like it kind of chip on your shoulder, like, come at me, bro. And then what's worse is then be surprised when people come at you. Like you're kind of inviting it. Imagine if this thing had been written and then it was just over. And he didn't write that, people of color, women to the front of the line, tough if you don't like it. Let's say he'd add, instead of that last sentence, he'd written something along the lines of, we would really rather have, we want a person of color, female voice for this project. Okay. Would anybody, who's going to get upset about this? You're talking about how it's got pro credits. So what do you think that Greg Capullo is going to show up and be like, hey, I'm ready to draw your book. And you're like, oh, sorry, man, you're white dude. So not you. Come on. Was it Todd McFarlane going to, email Saladin Ahmed and say, I'm ready. I'm here. I'm your man. Let's go. And he's going, oh, again, I'd love to bring you, Todd McFarlane, onto this project, but it's no, I really can't. And then what, is Todd McFarlane then going to throw a fit? Is he going to get mad and go on a rampage because you're not hiring him? Again, none of this makes any sense. It is performative. It is a way to kind of say, hey, look, buddies, look. I am facing down the angry Twitter mobs. I am facing down the angry social media mobs to hold this brave position of having this project. And I'm going to find a female person of color to do the book. And I'm giving the finger to all there's 500 white dudes who want to do this project, but they have to wait their turn. And they're going to be so mad at me and they're going to flame me and they're going to be, I'm going to get all this harassment, but I'm standing firm, tough if you don't like it. Here's the thing. I'm willing to bet that Saladin didn't even think it came across this way when he wrote it. I'm willing to bet that he put this out and he didn't give it much thought. And then would be surprised if I was sitting across a table with him, and I've talked to him in the past, in person, not online, but actually in real life where people can see each other's face. And it is, I can almost guarantee you he would be surprised if I said, hey, that post you wrote there, it kind of makes you seem like a dick. You come across very arrogant when you say that. And I'm not saying this from a, hey, I'm a white guy who feels cheated out of a job. I'm saying it as you're kind of destroying the goodwill that you would get from hiring a woman or hiring a person of color to work on your book by creating this weird antagonistic nonsense right out the gate. Why would you do that? Why would you open the door to that conversation immediately? It seems very self-defeating that you would go with that right off the bat. Just saying, it just seems very, very strange. Why would you want to make the conversation about that as opposed to the project that in theory you want to have somebody work on and be successful and get that person some money and get you some money and be successful? It's like, it, you don't have to. I've said this before. You don't have to go in and say this book is for everyone and all people are welcome, even the people I disagree with 100%. You're welcome to. Everybody is welcome. You don't have to go that far. I still don't think that's a terrible idea, but you can just quietly do your thing and not go out of your way to piss people off. I believe fully that I have watched shows or movies or read books or consumed content pretty positive and paid for it and enjoy it. And it turns out the person who did it is a crazy bastard who absolutely disagrees with me on everything, and just I would find their worldview absolutely abhorrent. I'm pretty confident there's a lot of things that I love. Like, it'd be like, I like the movie Galaxy Quest. And what if I found out that the screenwriter of Galaxy Quest was just this super hateful, crazy person? I couldn't even tell you who the screenwriter was. I should go on IMDb right now and figure it out, but I'm not going to. My point is, I don't, if suddenly that screenwriter started posting a bunch of stuff saying my content is not for people over the age of 40 because they're old and should be dead anyway, screw those people, I would probably have less fondness for Galaxy Quest. I would start to dislike it. Now, if the screenwriter held those views and maybe even said them to friends or quietly talked about it, I would never know, and I would continue to go along and give this property money. I would continue to consume it, enjoy it. But so you don't have to like open up the door to everyone, but why pick fights you don't need to pick? Like that's the part that to me is crazy. Why go out of your way to say, hey, not just, again, if this post had ended with, we have a preference for people of color and women for this project. Yeah, I'm sure there'd be some people who would be irritated about it, but not really. Not many. Most people would be like, okay, they're going for a certain thing. That's fine. It's when you deliberately poke. It's when you deliberately say, if you don't like it, then piss off. Again, it just... The funny thing is, it reminds me of how people used to talk to each other back in like middle school or junior high school. It's that level of mentality. It does not feel like creative professionals who are trying to put together projects that are going to sell thousands of copies and make money. It sounds like the kind of nonsense that I hear from time to time from my 10-year-old. That's what it feels like. Why? Anyway, I'm making a much bigger deal out of this than it's worth, for sure. But I think this illustrated a good example of what goes on at times that is completely unnecessary. This is an example of something that does not matter. Like no part of this builds business, adds value, does anything. It doesn't even accomplish the job of getting you a great, person of color, female creator on your book. It just it's something you can point to saying, I'm an ally. Look at me, ally here. And it's like, okay, so I guess maybe that benefits you, but it doesn't benefit your project. It doesn't excite anyone about what you're doing. It just kind of sits there like a wet fart, for lack of a better word. Anyway, maybe I've got this wrong. Like I said, mountains out of molehills, absolutely. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Have yourself a great day. Do what you got to do. Thanks for listening.